Have you ever been knocked down by failure only to have life hit you even harder? Lost everything that you'd built, then faced a health crisis on top of that? What if the first fall was actually preparing you for the second? If you're facing multiple crises and need a framework to survive and thrive, then this is the episode for you. Welcome to the Men's Mental Health and Movement Podcast. One step stronger, live longer. Today, I'm joined by Safal Sharma, a man who went from being a school topper, an award winner, to failing medical exams. But those failures were the inner work that he needed to do that forced him to prepare for something far bigger, a brain tumour. Safal now helps others understand that peace comes from thoughts and beliefs, not from what happened to you. And if you've ever had a crushing feeling of failure or feel like something's on top of you and you feel like throwing everything away, this one is for you. So Safal, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for giving me invitation to your podcast.
Yeah, so I think today's going to be a really interesting one. I've got some really good questions which I think our listener will be interested in. So let's go back to being a school topper. You know, you won the award Mr. School in 2006. That's great success, amazing. And then you failed your pre-medical exams multiple times and repeatedly failed at college. So take me from the top to the bottom. What happened there?
So initially it was because of fear. I wanted to top the exams, become bigger and better than everybody else. It was always about comparisons, always trying to excel, become better than others. And in that race, I was succeeding at school level. But once the situation became more complex, when the studies became higher, when I had to put more efforts and manage myself, I failed. I failed at managing those situations. I failed at putting the right kind of mindset or understanding how to take myself to the next level. So there became a series of failures that put me in a situation from being a rock star in my school where everybody was around me and everybody was asking about me, my relatives, everyone thinking that Safal would someday do something really big. From that stature, because of my failures all through these years, that my confidence had broken down because multiple failures, and then that went on even into the college days. And because of that effect, I was so broken and so out, fallen down that I couldn't come outside of it. So that
Right.
made me even go worse and worse into the difficult situations.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
happened.
So when you're a high achiever like that, and then suddenly everything fails, what does that do to your sense of self, and how did that how did you see yourself during that period?
So when I was excelling in my school, the basic thinking was that people are of two kinds: those who achieve and those who are failures. So I looked down upon those people who were failing in their examinations, who were like they were less than me, and I was the
Hmm.
topper. I was above them. So that was a different category. I belonged to
Yeah.
that kind of category.
Yeah.
But once I started failing, I realized that I was falling into that kind of category where I hated myself. I was disgusted. I had disappointed everybody. And that made me feel miserable. I was like broken. I felt that my life did not mean anything because once when I was achieving everything, there was dreams. I wanted to become something great. I wanted to become a doctor and all those dreams. And you think about things, you have a vision. But once all that broke, and I finally realized that I can't become a doctor. Finally realized I can't become a doctor and I have to do something else. That was the moment all that I had envisioned broke down. So it was miserable, just uh, broken and not being able to find motivation or drive to do anything in my life because I was one of those people who were failure, whose life did not mean anything. And that was the point of like lowest point of my life. But at that particular stage, when I was broken down, there was something that I did not do. I did not try to escape it. I did not try to find bad coping mechanisms to come out of it, or like going after girls, or drinking, or partying, or finding something else to escape from my misery. I didn't do that. I sat there. I felt that because I hadn't worked hard enough, I hadn't put myself all into it, I deserved this pain. I deserved this suffering. So I sat there, but at the same time, because I was always questioning myself, what to do now. So this questioning always kept running at the back of my mind. And because of those questions, I came to realize that this is what is happening in my mind, that I was trying to become better than other people. And there was a
Yeah.
reason behind that. And to find that out, I went into different books and different readings where I found something about self esteem or self
Yeah.
confidence.
Yeah.
That opened a door for me.
Yeah, great. I mean, just taking you back to that time when you felt, felt really bad and you felt crushed, and how was that showing up in your daily life? What was your kind of daily life like then?
I was sleeping a lot. I was watching a lot of movies. I had lost all my hobbies. I was not interested in them. I felt lack of confidence was visible in my posture, visible in the way I talked, even when I entered my college when I was doing law. Initially, I was not able to hide it. A few people saw me and they were asking, "Has something happened to you?" Like I became aware suddenly that oh, it is showing up in my ways. And then I stopped showing it to the world because it's hard to show your weaknesses to the being a man. You can't show your weaknesses to the people. So I stopped. I did not show my weaknesses, but I was crying not every day, but very regularly. The
Yeah.
first year of my college, I was crying because I had so much pain and so much burden and so much disappointment in myself that I had to let it go. I was not able to share it with people. So the only way I could see was crying, crying over what had become of me. I was once a topper, but now
Yeah.
look at me.
Yeah. That must have been difficult.
Very
So
different.
so when you got to the point, there must have been a certain point that you got to, that you decided that this has got to change. When was that, and how did you make those first steps?
It was very gradual because as I said, I was punishing myself for what I had done in my life. I deserved that suffering. So I sat with that suffering, and at that same time, I was at the very, very back of the mind, in the tiniest of place. I believed that I will make something good out of myself. I
Hmm.
don't know how. I did not know how. I did not know anything. There was complete darkness, but just this simple belief somewhere something will happen, something I will be able to do. There was this belief. And because of this simple belief, I never gave up, really. I never gave up. I was trying what to do. I didn't know what to do. What should I? Where's the answer? Why am I suffering? What is the way out of it? So, in order to find the answer to my questions, I was reading, I was trying to understand life, I was talking to people. And in that process, it gradually dawned upon me that this is what is happening. I'm learning things. Whatever has happened in my life is not all there is to it. There's more to life. So it gradually happened. I turned. I look at that phase of my life like a butterfly. Uh, it's caterpillar. That caterpillar eats a lot and it turns into pupa. And during that pupa stage, I imagine the pupa must be suffering when in the process of transformation, and suddenly it comes out of that cage and becomes a butterfly. So I imagine that because that time of my life is very confusing for me. That time it was like a lot of haze. I couldn't see what is happening in my life. I couldn't see my future. There was nothing that I could see. So it was like a cage in which I was captured. But during the process of learning and eating that knowledge or trying to find that answer, gradually I transformed into finding those answers that I'm talking about of self-esteem or self-confidence.
Yeah. So that kind of inner work that you were doing then, to rebuild your self-esteem and your confidence. What was your actual process of that, or was it just a continual path?
It started with understanding what actually failure is, because the greatest question in front of me was this label that I am a failure. That was the most painful thing to feel, that I'm a failure, I'm nothing, like that. So that was the greatest challenge. That was the first challenge. That was the first problem that was in front of me. So I began trying to understand what it is. And during my reading, one of the books, it said that life is like a classroom where you go from first class to second to third and fourth. And during that process, until you learn the lessons of first class, you will not be able to go into the second class. And this goes on. You will keep failing. So suffering uh, is also uh, a kind of indication that you're failing to learn something. Suffering is telling that there is something that you must learn in the process. So for me, my suffering was something which was telling me that I am not learning something, which I realized was the meaning that life is bigger than failure or success. An individual is different from his actions. Failure and success only point out towards your actions, not you. You are never a failure. You are never a success. Success, if you think that you are a success, that will make you arrogant. If you think you are a failure, that will make you depressed. So keep it away from that and attach it to your actions. And actions can always be improved. I
Yeah,
understood this situation, this
yeah,
concept. So I made myself different from my actions, and I judged or I looked at people or evaluated people in those terms also. So I could love everybody or see everybody without this tag or failure or success. I just looked at their actions. Right now he's failing. Maybe he can turn that into a success. But right now he's succeeding. So all of that was about actions. And so it made me a little better, into a better framework of looking at myself. So I was no longer a failure. I was better able to understand my own situation as well as the situation of other people, because everybody else was going through the same kind of phase or trying to be success in their life, and they were also affected by the same kind of thinking. So I cracked that thinking that it is not you, it is only your actions that are success or failure, and that can be changed.
yeah. That's a nice reframe from taking it actually out of your mind and into kind of the real world as such, and making your actions really count. So, yeah, on that, you've got a postgraduate degree in psychology, and
Yes.
and a knowledge of spirituality. Um, did you already have an education when you were failing, or did those failures push you to study these kind of things, or were you already interested in that, or did the failure push you into thinking about psychology and spirituality?
Psychology has always been my passion.
Hmm.
I've always loved psychology. Whether I had a degree or not, I was always observing people. I was always asking questions in my mind, why is this happening? And probably that is the reason I was able to understand what is happening to me, or find the answers that I was trying to find, because these all things are inner work or the work of the mind. It is already related to psychology. Uh, Degree did help in understanding a few more things, but I'm already like studying, already reading, trying to understand the phenomenon of life in a very practical manner.
Yeah, yeah. So that was just a natural progression, really, for you to
Yeah, yeah,
extend your learning.
yes.
Yeah. So, while you were doing all this inner work and you were actually fighting symptoms of a brain tumor, but you didn't even know it at that point.
Yes.
What were the symptoms, and how did that show up?
So the I realized that I was losing my hearing in 2013 or 14 something, around that. Probably my second last year of college or last year of college, I was having this difficulty in my right side hearing. So this happened, and I was also feeling pain at different points in my body, like in my shoulders or somewhere around my lower back, somewhere or the other. I was finding it difficult,
Hmm.
and this gradually increased. These things gradually increased. These were not connected. It only I could connect all these things only in the hindsight, but at that particular time, it was like pain from like sleeping on the wrong position or maybe lifting something heavy, and you feel like these are strains and things like that, normal day-to-day happenings. Nobody thinks that I've got a brain tumor. So these things were happening in 2013, 14. It started, and in 2016 I went to a doctor. Uh, he's after like diagnosis, he said that maybe it is congenital, like you are losing your hearing. And during my 2014, when I went back to my hometown from Delhi, where I was doing my law degree, I lifted a very heavy bag to bring my books to my home. So I had a sprain on my right side of shoulder. So I thought uh, some difficulties that I was finding later on about getting numbness on my face or pain on my shoulder was connected to this injury. So all along the way after this, the point I it was always pointed towards this injury.
Hmm.
So this kept on going. Numbness on right side of my face. I was finding it hard to write with my right hand. Speaking became difficult. I was not able to articulate properly. After that, vision. I had diplopia also uh, at a certain time, and pressure in my body started increasing, and then it kept on becoming difficult and more difficult and more difficult till the point it was finally diagnosed.
Yeah. So take me to that point when the doctors said to you, you have a brain tumor, and everything that you'd already been through and failure and, this kind of thing. What was going through your mind then at that point?
My mother and father both are actually doctors. So when we went to the diagnostic center, they had like doctors here in India. Like, they can access to the technicians or people like that. So she had uh, got the news that I had a brain tumor. She told me that you have a brain tumor, but it is not cancerous. It is non-malignant. At that time, it was because all these years from 2014 or probably even before that, I had started developing this 6, 7, 8 years of this struggle, all these pains, all these symptoms, because which had made my life stop. I was not able to do the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I had become frustrated or angry or things like that was happening to me. When I finally got the news, it was out of the blue, shocking, but somewhere maybe a relief that I have finally found the answer. But at the same time, I felt or I connected myself to that story of the protagonist, of the hero of the movie, where he has this challenge and he has to go through that thing and finally come out of it. So I was thinking, oh my God, I have got brain tumor. I've got brain tumor. I've got something big to fight with. So that was my reaction. I was not like depressed or broken. I just heard the news, processed it. It was more difficult for others to hear that news,
Mhm.
but I slept during that day also. And it was never like I had a sleepless night or I was afraid of things. I was just probably ready for
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah. I guess that's because you'd been having all these ailments and illnesses and things, and you kept saying it was this one thing and one another, and none of them were really connecting. So to get that final diagnosis was probably kind of like, right, okay, that's what it is. But it seems quite fascinating in the way that you were completely crushed by these failures, and it made you do all that internal work. And then when you told you got a brain tumor, you were actually like quite calm about it. So how does that work between the two different versions of you?
Yeah. See, 2009 or 10 was when I had this crisis of failure. 2009 or 10. And 2022 was the year when I got diagnosed with my brain tumor and I had my surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So during all those years was my constant struggle because of those failures and trying to fight these symptoms. And during that phase, the only thing that was in my control was my inner work, my thinking, my thoughts, what I
Mm-hmm.
feared. And there I worked. I realized what is important in my life, what is important in anybody's life. Just like I understood that it is your own framework. It is your own mindset, how you look at things like failure or success, that makes you miserable or happy. It made me happy by understanding that framework. Further on, when I kept on understanding life, I, I understood what is important in life, what is important for you, who are you actually. So during that process, where I realized what self-esteem is, what self-worth is, what is your real respect, what is your real value, I realized that this thing, the symptom, the side effect that I've got on my right side of the face, where it is hard for me to even give a single expression, or even to close my eyelid, or even to hear anything from my right side. There is a lot that is working for me. I focus on what is working for you. I focus that there is still there is still so much more that I can do.
Hmm.
And this story is just going to tell me whether I have mastered myself or not. This is an opportunity to let me know whether what I have learned works for me or not. Because I had already started working as a motivational speaker, or a guide, or a life coach. I was motivating people. At the same time, I was asking this question to myself, that I am motivating people. I'm telling them to think positive. I'm telling them that everything happens for your good. Have a right kind of framework for yourself. Have I done something which proved this to me, that I can walk the talk? So even before diagnosis of this brain tumor, I was thinking to myself, what should I do? Should I go for a Ironman competition, or should I do something really difficult to prove it to myself that I've got it within me? So brain tumor was actually a great opportunity for me to actually know whether I can do the things that I was talking about. And I was able to do the things that I was talking about. Everybody was shocked, even doctors. They were shocked. You don't look like a patient. I'm like, what? What are? What do patients look like?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even though I
That's
had
a,
a giant brain tumor, it was not small, medium, large, extra large. It was giant brain tumor.
yeah. Yeah. That's, I mean, most people have probably choose to do an Ironman over getting a brain tumor, to prove that they can they can walk the talk, like you said. But that's certainly going to give you a good insight into what you actually need to do, isn't it? And you said, like, so facing your brain tumor, did that increase your self belief?
Yes, yes, yes. Because earlier I had a lot of beliefs, but they were not really tested. By going through this situation, I was able to see that it works. What I had believed, what I had understood, what I had known myself is actually there. You can only know how good a sailor you are if you take your ship out into the ocean and fight the storms. Only then you find out that your ship is actually strong and you have those skills or not. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like that only. It was a storm. It was a very big storm where I could maintain my calm, where I could maintain my composure and come out strongly. I'm not hiding out somewhere, hiding my face, or like look at my face where or in depression or something like that. I'm out there talking to people, motivating people, even after all this thing. So that just made me realize that it was the real thing. My confidence, my understanding of myself was real. So this was an excellent opportunity to do that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And your work with psychology and spirituality, for the listener who might think spirituality is a little bit vague or impractical or woo woo, as people say, how do you make that practical?
Spirituality, if you really understand it, uh, gives you a greater belief or faith in that ultimate uh, truth, in that ultimate creator.
Hmm.
And in the darkest of times, when there is nothing, you can rely on that force. If you have understood it, if you have practices, if you have that spiritual peace. And a lot of spirituality is about following the right kind of values, integrity, righteousness. If you do that, following a righteous life in itself makes you a strong person, because it is very hard to be truthful. It is very hard to be honest. To be
Hmm.
truthful, even when you know that results can be counter intuitive for you, even then you are speaking the truth in the face of those difficult times. So that makes you strong. So when you are habitual of facing those kind of difficult situations because of your values or your way of life, a lot of things become easier for you. It's not something very new that you're facing a difficult situation.
Yeah.
So spirituality in that ways gives very practical uh, framework for you to follow in your life. Because you're honest, your conscience also is with you always. You don't have to hide with people. And also, when I heard this news of brain tumor, my canvas was very clear, which means my conscience, my mind was very clear. I had nothing in my mind. I was there was not a lie that I had told somebody or did something which had made me regret things. So in that ways, it was very clean and clear. So there was not a burden because of that, because of that clarity. So
Yeah.
spirituality in that sense helps you a lot, because your inner conscience is always with you, because you have been doing the right kind of things in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's nice. So it gives you that clarity to be able to look forward and have a sense of kind of internal knowing, I suppose, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Internal knowing, internal strength
Yeah.
also is created. In
Yeah.
resilience also, there's people who follow values are more resilient,
Hmm.
because following values is not so easy. Having integrity and righteous ways of life is a little bit difficult.
Yeah, 100%. So when you do your motivational speaking, you talk about practical tools to conquer challenges and adversities. Could you tell me just about one tool that a listener could maybe employ, this week? What could they do?
See, I am a superhero, like, because there was a challenge, I came out strongly above that. Any story is built because of the crisis or difficulties or tragedies. And the harder the tragedies or crises are, the greater the hero is. Like, you might have seen Avengers, or your listeners might have seen Avengers.
Hmm.
It was like they couldn't just win. It was like they had lost everything, and suddenly they all came together and they were able to finally defeat Thanos.
It
So
took them
that
four
made the
films.
story. Yes, yes, it made such a beautiful series out of that great character of Thanos, because it was so hard to defeat him. So for every person, there is a chance to become a hero. Everybody can be a hero. They just have to realize that whatever crisis or tragedies they're having in their life are actually an opportunity. These tragedies are the Thanos of their life, which they have to overcome. So they can create their own story. So one of the tools that I talk about is try to build your story. It's always in your hands. If you're living right now, it's never too late. At any moment you can decide that I need to turn around my story. Till now I was like defeated by whatever was my situation, but now I'm going to make it better. I'm going to come out of that and make a good story, and then you can share that story with people. You can see all the heroes in our life, real heroes in our life, examples in our life. They all have struggled with something very difficult. Even in religion, in history, everybody who has become a hero has not become a hero because he was born in a very great family and had everything. They became a hero because they had overcome something really, really difficult, which and nobody else could. So
Yeah.
everybody who's facing these kind of challenges have this opportunity to make something out of that. So try to build a story out of your life.
Yeah, that's
And
lovely.
this, yeah.
That's lovely. And how would you encourage the listener to kind of track that and maybe keep a track of that?
uh, Try to identify what is your crisis, whatever has stopped you from trying to become what you're trying to become.
So how would you encourage a listener to keep a track of that story that they're creating of themselves, like through journaling or
Hmm.
um, what kind
Okay,
of?
okay, okay. So what I'm talking about is you should have a good story in your head. It's like it's not a like everyday thing, just a story that has to be there in your mind of
Hmm.
whatever has happened in your life. You should be a hero of your life. The you should use journaling. That helps. How do you frame that whole thing? Like for example, I am the hero of my life because I have had failures in my life. I don't deny it. There is no toxic positivity. I'm not in any kind of denial. There were weaknesses. I had failed. I had brain tumor, but all those weaknesses have after overcoming them, I am being positive even after
Mm.
those situations. I am
Yeah.
motivating people. Nobody can tell that I have gone through these things. So that is an attitude. So I have overcome those situations and I've created this story. So if a person, suppose he has gone through a divorce and like completely broken because of that, he needs to understand what was there to learn from that situation and how that divorce has made me a wiser person, has made me a stronger person. What have I learned from that? And how I am now a better person, better version that I from the version that I used to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that means you have used that divorce or tragedy in a positive sense, and whatever you have learned from that experience can be put out into the next situation or can be shared with others. Whatever
Hmm.
wisdom you have gotten from your divorce, like this is how you should deal with marriage, or this is how you should deal with your partner, or things like that. Or I made this kind of mistake from next relationship. I will be taking care of things in that this way, and you should also do things like that. So you can turn that around instead of getting stuck with that situation or not learning from them and like getting depressed and like falling even more because of that into bad kind of situations.
Yeah. So it's really about having an internal movie in your own
Hmm.
mind about what you can do and what you've done and
Yes,
how that can be used for the better.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's
I
kind
love
of
that.
movie, the images that you are carrying in your head. So if those images need to be given the right meaning.
Hmm.
Don't give them a bad meaning. All the suffering is for you to learn from. Like we have this saying that your happiness or the good things that happen in your life are there to test you. Why? Because when you have success, when you have wealth, how are you going to use it? Are you going to use it to crush others or to put down others? Or are you going to use that to help others, to make society better? That's your test.
Hmm.
God has given you all that wealth or those things to test you. And
Hmm.
suffering is for you to learn. Because in suffering, you are alone, you are pressed, you are pushed into those situations that there is no other way but to learn and sit with all that is happening. So don't try to escape from that. That is your lesson for your life.
Yeah, that's good. And talking about suffering, so you've been through academic failure and a life-threatening illness. Which one of those was harder to overcome mentally, and why?
It was my failures. Yes. Actually, I call myself brain tumor conqueror, but that is not the entire truth because there was no conquering done in the brain tumor situation. I was already prepared for that. I had
Hmm.
all the tools and uh, all the mindset that I needed to face that. There was no conquering. I was from the day one to till now, no sleepless night. Sleepless night because of physical pain, of course, because I had gone through surgeries because of that. But no sleepless night because of my mindset. Never in any depression, never like given up or anything. Nothing. I was always positive, the right kind of framework. Everybody was surprised by my attitude, doctors and everybody else. I'm
Yeah.
inspiring, motivating people. Nobody can say that I had these things. So I was ready for that. But at the time of failure, I was just like everybody. I had no tools. I had nothing with me. I
Hmm.
just fell down like everybody else. And there I needed to learn things. There I learned things. There I got the mindset or tools to look at people, look at myself, uh, gain that kind of knowledge which helped me see the world in right kind of way which brought peace to me, that this is how you see things, which where I learned about self-confidence. What is self-confidence? Where I learned about self-esteem. What is self-esteem? What is your real worth? So that was more difficult for me because I was totally not ready for that.
Yeah. I mean, most people would obviously think that the brain tumor was going to be the most difficult, but that's a bit of an enlightenment for our listener. So, for any man listening to this who's been crushed by failure and feels that like he can't recover, what's the one thing that you'd tell him to do?
The right kind of framework, as I talked about, is to never attach failure, not even success, to yourself. It is failure or success is always about your action. And the good part is that you can always change your action. The moment you have the right kind of strategy or understanding how you need to go about things, your actions will become better and you will have better results. You will have success in your hands. Success is only defined by your actions. So you are always different from your actions. That also keeps you humble because you are not attaching it to yourself. You're not even your success. Because if you are attached that I am successful, that others are failure, that will make you arrogant. And that is not a right kind of framework to have in your mind, and that will make you miserable because in the long term you are going to fall down. Then you will hate yourself. So attach your failure or success to your action and look at other people also in this way that they are different from uh, their actions, and their actions can be about success and failure, but they are humans. They are just like me, having all those desires to have love, attention. They want things in their life. They want comfort. Others, we are all same. It's just the action. If somebody is treating others, helping them getting out of disease, they are doctors. If somebody is helping people to get their cases for law and order, they are lawyers. So it is just these actions that are defining people, not the person.
Yeah. Good actions, I'm presuming.
Yes.
Yeah. So listen, that's a lovely thing to leave the listener with. Think of those good actions and carry them out. So one last question for you, Safal. So the motto of this podcast is "One step stronger, live longer." What does that mean to you?
One step strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, one step stronger uh, would mean that you need to realize how important you are, how valuable you are, your worth, your self-image. You need to realize that your happiness, your peace lies within you, in understanding that you are enough, you are complete. You don't have to do something else. You don't have to become something else. You don't have to be at some other place to become complete. You are complete right now. You have all the things that you need right now. And to identify that and find happiness in that. There is no condition that you need to fulfill. Only then you will become happy. So most people, what they are doing, or I used to do when I was failing or I had that bad mindset, was I was chasing happiness outside. I was chasing happiness in trying to get validation from others, in trying to find love, in trying to find success, in trying to find, well, all these things. But the real thing was like I was feeling lacking. I was feeling that I was not enough. I didn't value myself. I didn't understand my self-worth. So once I realized that all of this is inside, like I am worthy, I'm complete, I've got everything. Now I'm living not to get validation from others, but to express myself. I'm doing things because I'm enjoying them. So I understand I am awesome, incredible, complete, full, and just like me, everybody else is. They just need to realize this, that they are complete and they are enough. That is the one step which will make you stronger.
Lovely. I love that. So, Safal, if our listener wants to maybe connect with you, learn more about your work, where can they find you? I'll put all the details in the show notes, but if you could just let us know where the listener could find you.
Yeah, I have my website www.safalsharma.com, SAFALSHARMA.com. There you can find all my details, all my social links, and connect with me. I would be glad to help.
That's lovely. Well, thanks for being a guest on the podcast. And don't forget, one step stronger, live longer. Take care, Safal. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really hope you've enjoyed this episode and found some value in it. If you have, Remember, you can like, subscribe and leave a review. It will really help to get this message out to more listeners who need to hear these kind of conversations. Thanks, and don't forget, one step stronger, live longer.